This week I'm going to do a very brief reset of my home, and I wanted to invite you to join me, and I want to give you something to help you join me. I am not going to be cleaning or organizing my home. Instead, I'm going to be decluttering different categories in my home, because what I found is that the best way to keep my home feeling peaceful and comfortable is to stay on top of the clutter. Everything feels different when I'm not dealing with excess clutter. I truly used to feel like I was drowning in my home. Let me show you some before pictures. I have never had peaceful spaces. I've always had a lot of clutter and just felt like I was drowning in my home up until about 4 years ago. And the thing that allowed me to change my spaces was a mindset thing. I was locked in a headspace that told me the only way to have a tidy home would be to somehow gather the strength, the stamina, the energy to tackle every single thing in my home. I mean, go through every pile, every drawer, cabinet, box, closet, all of it, all at once. So I could declutter all this stuff that I wasn't using and I really didn't need. In my mind, I believed that if I could just go through everything and get my entire house back to a clean slate, that I could start in at that point with like regular cleaning routines and decluttering, and it never happened. My home looks wildly different now, yes, because we moved, but also because of the amount of stuff that I have and the way I organize the stuff that I have. Not because I summoned the will to get through all the clutter at one time. In fact, I am to this day going through clutter. And this week I will be working on decluttering because it's not a once and done thing. You have to have rhythms put into your life to go through stuff as seasons change, as people grow out of clothes, as just all kinds of different things. You need to have a rhythm. If you are interested, I wanted to gift you this little mini reset guide to just give you a plan about what to declutter. And I'm going to tell you how I would go about it if I were you, based on what has worked for me, someone who has chronic illnesses and who has a lot of kids, very little time and energy. I designed this worksheet so you could take a look at the different categories and just put a check mark on the ones that you want to work on for this week. Then inside the box, if there's something specific that you want to work on in that category, or if there's a certain room, a certain space that you want to put your time and attention to, then just write that down there and then write down how long you're going to work on that. I'm someone who doesn't have a very good grip on time. So the reason I put a spot here for writing how long you're going to work on this thing is because A, we're going to be using our timers, and B, you want to visually see how much time you're devoting to this decluttering project, and then asking yourself whether that makes sense for you for this week. And of course, you don't have to only do this week. You can throw this up on your fridge and just work on it however long you would like to work on it, but that's just my 2 cents. The way I think that it works best when you really need to be mindful of your time and energy. When I do these mini decluttering challenges, the first thing I'm going to do is have 3 containers. So I have something for trash, and I just toss anything that has holes, that's broken, that I'm never going to fix in a million years. Then I have a container for donations, things that I can remove from my home, remove from my responsibility to take care of. And thirdly, I have a container or a bag for stuff that does not belong in the place where I am decluttering and it belongs elsewhere. So that's a keep bag that can be dealt with later. Never am I trying to declutter and put stuff away. I just focus on one thing at a time, or I get very distracted. If you want to use the decluttering sheet, you're going to put that up somewhere where it is easily visible to A, just remind you to do it, and B, so that you're not having to work out what to do. You have these categories in place, you know exactly what you can focus on. As you go through this decluttering process, there are 2 things that are going to help you immensely. The first thing is you're going to decide on a reasonable amount of time that you can work on this project that's not going to exhaust you or overwhelm you. And then you're going to set a timer for that amount. When the timer goes off, you're going to stop what you're doing. I don't care if you've gotten into a groove, I don't care. If later on you want to come back to it and work on it again, totally fine. But we are protecting our energy here, and we're just going to stop when the timer goes off. Then mark off whatever category you just worked on your little worksheet. Number 2, Do not allow yourself to be pressured to do too much. Think about what you have to give. Pick 5 categories and work on each of those categories for 5 minutes. Or pick one category that feels the most important to you, that will make the biggest difference in your home, and work on that for whatever time you have. You can do that in one chunk of 15-20 minutes. You can do it in a couple of minutes, a couple of days at a time. It's up to you. Just make sure that it is something that is super realistic for what you have to give right now. The reason these two things are essential is when decluttering or any other task feels overwhelming and super time consuming, your brain will resist it. And we want to prove to our brains that we can work within our capacity in a way that doesn't feel terrible. Once your brain trusts you to not overextend yourself and do too much, then your brain won't have all this resistance to decluttering, which, as we spoke about before, is something that you need to be fairly consistent about. It needs to be kind of worked into your routines. If your brain believes that you are not going to have to do the most, it's not going to be exhausting, you're not going to have like the entire contents of your closet spread all over your room, and then it's like that for the next 2 months. If your brain believes that this is a manageable task, it's not going to resist it, and you will be able to be consistent. Consistency is key. Take that from someone who has struggled to be consistent my entire life. I've taught myself to be so respectful of my own capacity and my own boundaries that now I don't feel about cleaning and decluttering and organizing the way I used to feel, which is I can't do this until I have a ton of energy, until I have like a lot of time to devote to it all at once, which I, of course, never did. Now my brain is like, okay, this is on the schedule. We can go do that. That's not going to take us too long. Every Friday, for instance, I have a piles task where I spend like 10 minutes just deconstructing piles that are around the house. Every month I have a day on my cleaning guide where I work on a little bit larger piles that might be problematic at the time, maybe a closet, or I'm noticing that one of my organization spaces is not really working anymore, and so it's all cluttery. That's how I know it's not working anymore, and I need to reconfigure that. So that once a month is when I will focus on those a little bit larger tasks, but I still usually only take about 20 minutes to work on it because I've been doing this for years. Then a few times a year, there are months that have 5 Mondays in them, like this September. During those 5th week months, I use that entire 5th week to just go through categories to declutter very intentionally. And that's what I'm sharing with you, to just give you that option to hop in. You don't need this to be crazy. You don't need to do too much. Just hop in and just work on whatever you can, and then done. It will make a difference. You will feel differently. Yes, you'll need to build that up a little bit over time, but there is no way to develop a habit without taking that first step. If you want a copy of the decluttering sheet, you can go on my website under the shop tab and it will be right there. It's free. If you're wishing that there was something that went more in depth into your home, I did create a 30-day home reset. It's got a very methodical plan to go through the entire house. I have checklists. I write shortcuts in there for you. I have neutral and positive statements so that your brain isn't always saying these negative statements to yourself, if that's something that you deal with. I have the home reset in digital form on my website, and I also have it in a bundle with my adaptive cleaning system, or you can get the physical book off of Amazon if that's more your vibe. I've revised this home reset over the years because it was very much a functional document to me. Every inch of my home was unmanageable, and I could never get into like maintenance cleaning routines because everywhere I turned I was kind of blocked. There was, hard to have a kitchen cleaning routine when all of the counters are completely filled, and it's just, it's definitely a mindset thing, but I worked through it, and I've done this home reset multiple times. I did it twice a year for probably 2 or 3 years, and now I usually go through it once a year. But I'm finding I kind of don't even need to go through it once a year now with my decluttering tasks that are sprinkled through my regular cleaning routine. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll also put my email in the description box in case you need to ask me something privately. I hope that something that I shared today was helpful to you, or that this worksheet is a resource that's going to be valuable to you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.